You know what we should all be saying? Even if you're someone who says, I'm a college football fan, even the people who say, I'm not an NFL fan, but I'm a college football fan, even you need to be saying this. Give me a break. Seriously, give me a break. Media and fans need to be heard saying, give me a break. Stop whining, coaches. This is one of those moments, and I'm happy to take advantage of it. And I think more people should agree. It's one of those moments that you realize how self-absorbed, whiny, and entitled many college football coaches really are. Particularly, you're not going to like this, certainly with an ESPN sign above my head, particularly I'm finding in the SEC. You're now learning how entitled and all too powerful I would say they think they are, but the truth is I guess they are. They get everything their way, and they're whining about it. But let's not let this whining, this dose of whining by this entitled, spoiled group go untouched. This is one of those times when you should rant. And they don't like it, but we shouldn't care. The college football coaches, woe is me, this job is so hard act is really absurd. You ought to be sick of it. An NFL coach complaining like these SEC coaches are complaining about the system, complaining about the schedule, which is despicable. I cannot believe anyone can listen to these coaches complain about their schedule. But think about this. When you hear some of the comments being made, because I guess these SEC meetings are going on, which is basically, seems to me, it's just an effort to whine the whole time. But could you imagine an NFL coach saying many of the things you're about to hear? That coach, that NFL coach, would be eaten alive for whining. It wouldn't be tolerated. The blue bloods in college football, and they're not many, but the blue bloods in college football are still complaining about last year's playoff. They're using the SEC meetings, whatever that really means, who knows, but they're using the SEC meetings to complain about last year's playoff, and then they're flipping out because somebody somewhere, not that fans should ever win a bunch of good games, not that fans or media should ever say, shut your mouth, play a tough game, please. But they're flipping out because the suggestion has been made they play 9 SEC games. What that means, really, and they're flipping out about it, and they are used to getting their way. But what that means is one less hand-picked directional school game that they win by 60, 65 points. In other words, that's one less cream puff, of which you should not tolerate. They're whining. What we should be saying is just shut up. Okay, these coaches at blue blood programs, but everywhere, but blue blood programs, these coaches are multimillionaires with guaranteed contracts. They have a staff of 50 to 75 handlers, and they're whining to you that they shouldn't have to play 9 league games. Let that sink in. So your entertainment dollar, if you're a fan, this is reaching, with all the money flowing into the sport, this is reaching the point of just being ridiculous. I don't know how the bridge isn't burned more between fans and coaches, whining coaches, but it should, because the fan is putting out hard-earned entertainment dollars, okay? And you're baking in the sun, watching whatever home team destroy some directional school from Louisiana by 65 points. Think about NFL coaches ever whining about a schedule. They'll just get run out of town. So when is the ticket buying public going to say, give me a break, shut your trap? SEC coaches are begging for easier games when we should all be saying, play tougher games. You don't get what you want, coach. You're paid enough, man. It's about us. See, the NFL, this is what the NFL gets, and somehow the pendulum has to swing in college football. The NFL gets this. You matter most. What's on that screen matters most. Whining coaches don't matter at all. Whining players don't matter at all. All that matters is the show. That's where we should get in college football as well. So the audacity of these guys making this kind of money to say, you people don't get it. You don't get how tough this is. That seems to be their position. So the networks and platforms, I think, should be the one guiding this. More media should be complaining about it, yet we have more media sucking up. It's unbelievable. But the networks and the media and the fans, certainly, the funding source in this bloated sport should be screaming player tougher. I want to hear you talk about playing Mercer, coach. Shut up. Okay? The show needs to be good, so you need to play tougher games. The network should say, I don't care that you have to play back-to-back road games, coach. We pay you to put on a show. Shut your mouth, cash your big checks, and coach. Here's why I bring it up. Really well done. At least somebody's calling them out for whining and complaining. It's not that tough. You can say, oh, these SEC schedules. Let me break it down for you. You're going to find that there are really not that many tough games. And you'd never, ever hear an NFL coach do this. So this is from, I think this is from Outkick.com. It says, collective meltdown. Kirby Smart, Mike Elko, Mike Elko joined chorus of SEC coaches demanding rewards for losing. You know who nobody really wants to hear complain? I don't think you should want to hear any coach complain. I really don't. You don't need to hear Mike Elko complain. Okay, Mike? Okay, you melted down late last year. You need to stop talking. I don't think any of them should. I don't think any coach in college football has earned this incredible position of saying, I'd like to play fewer, tougher games, so deal with it. But that's where they're going. It says the SEC had a collective meltdown over the fact that several 3-loss teams were left out of the playoff in favor of Indiana, which had 1 loss, that was on the road to number 2 Ohio State, or SMU, which had 2 losses by a combined 6 points. Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer complained yet again this week, acting as if the Tide deserved to be included after losing to 2 6-6 teams. And by the way, they scored 3 points against one of them. And he's still complaining about this at these, quote, SEC meetings that have turned into nothing but whining. Mike Elko has joined Georgia's Kirby Smart in criticizing the playoff format. Mike Elko said this. Has anybody checked on Mike Elko's late season? Quote, it's hard to measure what it's like to go through an 8 or 9 game SEC schedule. The committee is a tough job to figure out when just looking at resumes. Okay. A&M had 1 tough non-conference game. That was at home. They got beat 23-13 by Notre Dame. They then beat McNeese State, Bowling Green, and lost to USC. That's it. Stop talking, coach. It's not that tough. Kirby Smart says, I have a hard time thinking Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Alabama, who all missed the playoff, were not part of the best teams in the country. Oh, really? We're going to argue about Alabama still. Alabama was so good, everyone, and so deserving of a playoff. Here we are, almost June the next year, and these rich guys who don't play that many tough games, okay? At the most, and I'll break it down, at the most they play 8. At the most, 8 games. That's it. 8 tough games at the most. But Alabama is so good, still complaining, and so deserving of a playoff spot. In their last game of last season, they got their ass kicked by a lousy Oklahoma team, a 6-loss Oklahoma team. And they're still, in May of the next year, complaining. Should the scoreboard not matter? What should matter? I think what these coaches are really trying to say, and this is what makes me mad, is I think a lot of media try to say the same thing, and that is all that really matters is the name. That's what you should, no matter, okay, we scored 3 points against a lousy Oklahoma team in a must-win game. But that doesn't matter because our name is Alabama. That's all that should matter. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. They're saying over and over again, these coaches, my name is Alabama, my name is Georgia, my name is whatever, fill in the fill in the blank blue blood program. So I deserve it. Don't you get it? How dare you look at the scoreboard? How dare you notice that you lost to a terrible 6-loss team? How dare you? Blue blood programs spend millions on coaches who give them, and these schools, these programs, give them whatever they want. They have long-term, no-risk contracts. So for all of you, the fact that they schedule the way they do is ridiculous. Complaining about that schedule is disgusting. They're mad, just so you know. They're mad and having a fit. One, about that old playoff, which is silly anyway. But they're having a fit of the suggestion of more SEC games. So keep this in mind. College programs, again, have a staff, unlimited staff at blue blood programs. They have no risk contracts. Everything, you can say all you want. In the NFL, they run you out when you don't win. They just run you out. In college football, they pay you off for a long time. They have 90 players. You can say, oh, but not all 90. Okay, 75 to 80. 75 to 80 players. Blue blood programs have every advantage there is. And they play maybe 6 to 7 difficult games a year. And they're treated like royalty and complaining about it. A year ago, Alabama. Okay? Alabama had Western Kentucky, South Florida, Wisconsin, and Mercer outside of the league. Inside the league, they lost to 6-loss Oklahoma. They scored 3 points. And they played Auburn, who was 5 or 6 losses themselves. That's 6 easy games Alabama had a year ago. That's it. And complaining about it. Texas this year, for example. I guess give credit to Steve Sarkisian. I haven't heard him complain yet. But Texas this year. And this is true of most of these SEC programs. And these coaches are barking at you and barking to the media, I'm sorry, with very little pushback about how tough things are. Listen to this. This year, Texas has Ohio State, UTEP, San Jose State, Sam Houston, as well as a terrible 4-win Kentucky team, and an awful, one of the worst programs in all of college football, a 2-win Mississippi State team. They also get a 6-loss Arkansas team and a 6-loss Oklahoma team. That's 7 games. You'll be favored by double digits. How tough is that schedule? Wait, I'm sorry, things are so tough for what reason? And they're complaining about scheduling, and they're complaining about the playoff again, and it's May. So, I'm not saying that Steve Sarkisian has complained. Don't be a face painter. I'm just giving you a point that that's the way it is pretty much across the board. And they're still complaining. You don't hear NFL coaches complaining. They'll be sent to Europe and back, and they don't whine. Yet blue blood college programs all but handpick their games. That's what they do. Oh, they're going to say, well, I had a tough game on the road against Ohio State. Yeah. And then you decided to schedule 4 cream puffs after that. And then they throw a cream puff game. Most SEC programs do it. Blue blood programs do it late in November. So you can take a break. And they're still complaining. Here's the way it should work. And this is what fans should really be pushing back, right? You live in an era of a playoff. Here's the thing. Here's why you should schedule. Fans should demand, media should demand better games, tougher games. I don't care if you have 12 tough games. Shut up. You're going to the playoff. In a playoff world where 2 or 3 losses shouldn't matter, unless you suck late in the year and melt down, then more than ever before, the fans and the media should be getting quality games. Quality games. The networks and fans, certainly the networks, should say, you know what? Yeah, we heard these rich coaches complaining. We've heard this. We don't really care because we write the checks. See, this way it works in the NFL. The NFL, they say, we pay you. You put on a show. You make a good living. Coach, we pay you. You make a really good living with no risk. Stop talking and coach. The networks and fans should say, there will be no more. Got it? No more games against non-Power 4 or 5 conferences. I would say Power 4, but whatever. That's it. It's over. You're not playing Mercer again. You're not. Sorry for Mercer, you don't get the check, but that's it. You know why? Because I'm paying you to show your games, and I don't want to put on Mercer versus Alabama. I don't want to put on UTEP in Texas. No more. Stop complaining or keep complaining, but either way, you're not playing UTEP anymore. You're not playing Sam Houston anymore. The network should be dictating the schedules. Period. Fans should be wanting the networks to be dictating the schedules. Fans should be wanting media to be critical and push back on these coaches whining about the playoff system and whining about the schedules. And then whining about somebody saying, man, you need to play tougher SEC games. More of them. That's what you should be wanting. What they say shouldn't matter at all. At all. So the blue blood programs are going to make the tournament anyway. Okay? So there's really not that much risk. It's really about you. It's really about the media. It's really about the fans getting the product you want. I think it's disgusting they're complaining, particularly some of them complaining that melted down late in the year. But either way, that's it. The cream puff should be over. You don't get the program shouldn't be dictating. The coaches shouldn't be telling anyone who they're going to play and when. They shouldn't be influencing anyone about schedules. They should just coach and play with what they have, and you matter most.